Here is a stark reality that might keep you up tonight. Nearly 60% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money or selling something they own. In the United Kingdom, 1 in 4 adults has less than £100 in savings. Yet, the average person will earn over $2 million in their lifetime. So, where does all that money actually go? The answer is painfully simple. Most people never learned a basic system for managing their money. They earn, they spend, they wonder why they are always broke, and then they repeat the cycle month after month until retirement feels like a fantasy. But what if I told you there is a budget rule so simple that you could learn it in the next 7 minutes and start using it tonight? A system used by financial advisors, recommended by the United States government, and proven to help ordinary people build wealth without spreadsheets, complicated apps, or a finance degree. This is the 50-30-20 budget rule, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to use it to transform your financial life. Let me paint a picture you probably recognize. Payday arrives, and for about 48 hours, you feel rich. You pay some bills, grab dinner out, maybe buy something you have been eyeing online. Then somewhere around week 2, you start doing mental math before every purchase. By week 4, you are checking your bank balance 3 times a day, praying nothing unexpected hits. Sound familiar? You are not bad with money. You simply never had a framework. You have been playing a game without knowing the rules. The 50-30-20 budget rule changes everything because it finally gives you those rules. So here is how it works. Take your after-tax income, the money that actually lands in your bank account, and divide it into 3 buckets. 50% goes to needs. 30% goes to wants. 20% goes to savings and debt repayment. That is the entire system. Simple to understand, but let me show you how to actually implement it in your real life. Let us start with the 50% for needs. These are expenses you literally cannot avoid. Housing, whether that is rent or mortgage payments. Utilities like electricity, water, gas, and internet if you work from home. Groceries, not dining out, just actual food you prepare. Transportation costs including car payments, insurance, fuel, or public transit passes. Minimum debt payments that you are legally obligated to make. Health insurance, and essential medical costs. Here is where people make their first mistake. They put everything into the needs category because everything feels necessary. That gym membership is not a need. Your Netflix subscription is not a need. Your daily coffee shop habit is definitely not a need. Be ruthless and honest here. If you would not become homeless, starve, or face legal consequences without it, it belongs somewhere else. Now let us talk about the 30% for wants. This is the category that makes budgeting actually sustainable. Wants include dining out and entertainment, streaming services and subscriptions, hobbies and personal spending, vacations and travel, that gym membership I mentioned, clothing beyond basic necessities, and upgrades to things you already have. Many budgeting systems fail because they demand total deprivation. The 50-30-20 budget rule understands human psychology. You need some enjoyment in your life, or you will abandon any system within weeks. 30% is permission to live while still building wealth. This is not guilt money. This is part of the plan. The final 20% for savings and debt repayment is where wealth actually gets built. Start with an emergency fund. Your first goal should be $1,000 set aside for unexpected expenses. Then build toward 3 to 6 months of expenses. Next, attack high-interest debt aggressively. Credit card debt, personal loans, anything above 7% interest should be a priority. Once you have an emergency fund and high-interest debt cleared, focus on retirement contributions, additional debt payoff, and investing for long-term growth. This 20% is future you sending a thank you note back through time. Every dollar here is a dollar working for you instead of against you. Here is a practical example to make this real. Suppose you bring home $4,000 per month after taxes. Your needs budget is $2,000. Your wants budget is $1,200. Your savings and debt repayment budget is $800. Within those boundaries, you have complete freedom. Spend your needs money on whatever needs you have. Enjoy your wants money without guilt. Save your 20% knowing you are building real security. Now I need to give you an important reality check. What happens if your needs already exceed 50%? For many people, especially in expensive cities, housing alone can eat 40% or more of income. Here is what you do. First, acknowledge where you are without judgment. Second, adjust the percentages to something realistic like 60-20-20 or even 70-15-15 as a temporary measure. Third, create a plan to gradually shift toward the ideal ratio. This might mean increasing income, reducing housing costs at your next lease renewal, or paying down debt that is eating into your needs category. The 50-30-20 rule is a target, not a prison sentence. Progress matters more than perfection. There are a few common mistakes I see people make with this system. First, they forget to use after-tax income. Always calculate from what actually hits your bank account, not your gross salary. Second, they misclassify wants as needs because they feel emotionally necessary. Be honest with yourself. Third, they give up if one month goes wrong. Missing your targets occasionally does not erase the system. Just reset and continue. Fourth, they never actually track their spending to know if they are hitting the percentages. You cannot manage what you do not measure. The 50-30-20 budget rule has helped millions of people take control of their finances. It is simple enough to remember, flexible enough to adapt, and effective enough to actually work. Starting today, look at your last month of spending and categorize everything. See where you actually are, then make one small adjustment toward where you want to be. You do not need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Small, consistent changes in how you budget will compound into massive results over years. If you found this valuable,